Hi there everyone, GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video for Fire Emblem Heroes. Tonight we're getting the reveal of the next set of special heroes to drop into the game. Obviously going to be Easter, bunny, spring themed. You can see from the silhouettes pulled up right here, the little teasers for the next set of characters. The one on the left to me looks a lot like Bernie, so I'm wondering if, Bernadetta, so I'm wondering if we are going to get at least a hybrid of three houses mixed in there. And of course, on the right, certainly looks to me like Triandra. She's got like the fairy wings and the hairstyle, kind of the closest resemblance I think would be Triandra, but I think that's going to be my guess, is Bernie on the left, Triandra on the right, so a hybrid of three houses and original Fire Emblem Heroes characters, and I think it's going to be a mix of cavalry and flyers, as the Spring Banner has traditionally been. So, got the trailer pulled up here, we're going to watch it together raw for the first time, and then take a closer look at the units and the skills that dropped to evaluate the banner as a whole. So let us get started. Alright, let's go! See what bunnies we got this year. Bunnies usually deliver, more often than not, I would say. So, welcome to warm spring sunshine. Special heroes to battle. And that is definitely Bernie with the floppy bunny ears, late Hibernator. Very appropriate to have the floppy bunnies. Bunny ears. So, Cavalry Blue Archer. Okay. Bow of Repose, Escape Route 4. Oh, I'm curious what that's going to be about for sure. Alright. Got a little sting to that, and that is certainly going to be Triandra. Sunlit Nightmare. That's quite an outfit. I would expect that from Plumeria, not Triandra, but she's rocking it. Very nice. Nightmare's Egg. Firestorm Dance 3. The Storm Dance skills have never been good, so I don't know what they're going to do to make it better, but it's kind of cool animation. The egg cracks and the thorns come out. Oh my god, that is going to be Budding Chivalry. That's very appropriate. So that's going to be Ashe. So wearing some shorts. He's actually got kind of a well put together outfit. It's not as flamboyant as it could be, although I like the flamboyant outfits. It's kind of got some loose shorts, and Spring Reveries. That looks like some gorgeous Kaboom art, unless my eyes deceive me, and that is in fact going to be Karla and Freyja. What a pair! What a pair! Sisterly War Axe, Attack Speed Clash 4, Flow and Trace 3.
No dreams today.
Whew! They look incredible. Harmonized skill. Yeah, we're gonna take a closer look at all this stuff, but I can tell you right out of the gate, I need that duo. I don't care about any other banners that are coming and what else I gotta save for. That duo is gonna be mine. I need it. So those two look amazing together. Love the pairing. An unorthodox one to be sure, but they look so good together, and Kaboom always delivers. I know that is a little bit of a controversial statement for some, but I don't care. So Spring Eternal, Paralog Story. Super excited, and let's go ahead and pause here to take a look if there's anybody else that's being revealed. Is that McAllis? I mean, from way up here, that looks like McAllis to me. I mean, it would make sense because we did get Minerva in past years, so getting McAllis this time around would kind of round that out. Makes a ton of sense. So that's a great addition, and of course, starting on the 6th of March and going for an entire month, Ashe is going to be the 4-star focus unit, as of course we anticipated in the placement. Spring Eternal is going to be the bunny banner of this year, and there's a pretty fantastic selection, and in line with what I was expecting. So I did get it right with Bernadetta, and of course Triandra. So those were both the actual silhouettes that were revealed. Ashe rounding out the three houses representation there, and then you've got the pair of Karla and Freyja, which is chef's kiss amazing. So we do have even color distribution across the banner. The 4-star focus unit of Ashe is going to be red. The duo is going to be green. We're going to take a closer look at the units and their skills, but I'm going to say right out of the gate, I'm summoning on this banner. I am getting that duo. So that's happening. Irrespective of what they have or what their kit is or their stat line, it doesn't matter to me. I am summoning for them. And so first up, of course, hailing from 3 houses, we have Bernadetta as a blue archer cavalry unit. Very appropriate, like I said, with the floppy ears, since she is a little bit more downtrodden as a character, and I think the juxtaposition of her character and sort of the cheerful, bountiful nature of spring and the bunnies and the eggs is a nice and fun contrast a lot. It kind of reminds me of Tharja from last year, right? And the theme, just because there's such a significant juxtaposition between how their demeanor is and like the overall theming. I feel like with Bernie, they could have actually leaned into the sort of darker tones of her character a little bit more here, but maybe this is kind of like her more cheerful side, her coming out of her shell a little bit more, and that's sort of a redemption element to it. I'm not really sure, but outfit is really cute, matches really well with the purple vest, obviously with her hair. I like the floppy ears with the 2 tones, it's very cute. The pink elements, the bunnies on the bow, the little chick basket or bag on her side, and then she has a little fluffy brown bunny tail, which matches the skirt, as well as the boots, and then the ears themselves, I think, comes together really, really nicely. So Bernadetta has an interesting kit as a whole. Once again, she is a cavalry blue archer, and so her weapon has a killer slaying effect and has buffs based around the total number of movement tiles that either she or her opponent has made. So it's whoever is initiating, it's the total number of movement or total amount of tiles moved by that unit. So it works on both player and enemy phase, and also it has that sort of unique chip effect of health to bring her down to 99% HP. So there's 2 kind of competing conditions here, one being the total movement, so having sort of a clash effect, the other component to Bow of Repose being that she has to be at 99% HP or less. And at the start of the turn, if she has full health, she actually inflicts 1 damage to herself or her ally. So that's very similar, I think, to her Christmas version, if I'm not mistaken. Essentially, that means that she activates her own condition, which is very, very useful. So that being the case, she gets nice buffs, so +5 to all of her stats. She actually gets an in-combat debuff against the enemy based upon the clash element, so the total amount of movement to speed and defense. So that means that increases her doubling capability, the damage that she would be doing. And then furthermore, the total number of spaces will also either give her some damage reduction if it's just 1 space, and if it's at least 2 spaces, it neutralizes any effects that would prevent her from doubling, right? And since she's going to be a pretty speedy unit, that's actually going to be pretty useful for her. And then furthermore, anything that would inflict special cooldown charge -X. So a lot of good stuff baked into the Clash. I think the Clash is a unique set of skills. The 99% HP is definitely something that's very Bernie. So I like that they brought that in from her other iteration. A Remote Sparrow is going to increase overall her offensive capability with attack and speed. Draconic Aura is going to work in tandem to that to amplify her damage based upon her attack. Remote Sparrow is also going to give her damage reduction based upon the first attack from the enemy, and that is going to stack, of course, with the damage reduction that's afforded by Bow of Repose, so increasing her overall survivability. Now you have, of course, Defense Res Smoke 3 for the C slot, which we've seen before. That's, of course, a -7 to the defensive stats on the enemy, as well as foes within 2 spaces, but also grants an activated buff on her, as well as the Pathfinder ability for 1 turn, which is actually really useful for cleanup of the enemy forces. But perhaps most interesting on her, in addition to her weapon, of course, is Escape Route 4. So she has the inheritable Tier 4 of Escape Route, and it's quite a departure. It's definitely a lot more viable, a lot more useful, a lot more baked in utility into from what Escape Route originally was. Now, interestingly, Escape Route 4 has that 99% HP condition, which is obviously perfect for Bernadetta. It obviously matches perfectly with Bernie's Bow of Repose. It enables Kanto 1, and it's obviously noteworthy that Bernie is a ranged unit, and having Kanto 1 and not Kanto Remainder is actually really, really good. That means that she's going to get her Kanto even if she moves 3 tiles to attack. So that's going to be very, very nice for her. It also has the solitary effect of inflicting speed attack -3 on the foe during combat. That in-combat debuff is just very nice to have. If unit's HP is at least 99% or lower, unit can move to a space adjacent to any ally within 3 spaces. So that's actually a huge range, like a huge range around her. With a cavalry unit, because they have such exceptional range to begin with, it's something like a warping mechanism isn't really going to be super, super useful for them because they already have inherent movement capabilities. But being able to teleport adjacent to a unit within 3 spaces, that's actually a huge range. And then if HP is less than or equal to 60%, unit can move to a space adjacent to any ally on the map. So they have map-wide movement capability, which is, again, more in line with what Escape Route originally did. But this just opens up what Escape Route is capable of doing. And Escape Route originally, I don't think, was tied to any particular archetype or any particular movement type, weapon type, anything like that. So I would think that anybody can inherit Escape Route 4. And if they can, that opens the door to a lot of unique things for sure. So Bernie's got a lot of great stuff in here. It's a little gimmicky because a lot of it is based on that 99% HP, but because she can reach that condition by herself, it doesn't matter. It fits perfectly for her. And then the whole movement-based buffs as well, most of it is pretty easy to meet. Like, other than, the clash skills that amplify based upon the amount of movement, for hers in particular, she gets the maximum value, at least from the effect side of things, with at least 2 movement. And that's super easy of a condition to meet in general. So, now another caveat to Escape Route 4 is that the 99% HP for the Kanto condition also activates if conditions are met due to effects after combat. So that means your Fury chip damage, or your Push chip damage, or all of the skills that actually will self-inflict some sort of damage to your character actually does meet the condition at the outset, so that they have the Kanto even on turn 1, as long as they get that chip damage after combat. Doesn't count the damage that you take during combat. It's only after combat, and it checks before combat. So that's pretty interesting, actually, that it has that condition. So it differentiates between the damage that you take after combat versus during combat there. Another sort of weird idiosyncrasy with this particular kit is that she has Escape Route 4, which I think is really valuable, but if she does use Escape Route 4 to warp, the warping does not count towards the movement spaces and the conditions for Bow of Repose. So if she is going to be warping, that means that she's not going to be taking advantage of a bunch of the different effects that require her to move a certain number of tiles either. So overall, I think there's a lot of synergy, a lot of powerful elements baked into her kit. I think it's going to be pretty annoying to deal with because she does activate a lot of the skill effects on her own, just naturally through the kit itself. And I think it's well put together. It doesn't blow me away or anything, but I think that it's going to allow her to kind of flower on the battlefield. So next up is Triandra, and she's going to be a colorless tome flyer. It's actually a nice combination for her. She's also rocking the floppy ears and has the red tint at the end, much like Bernie, so they're actually matching in that regard. Outfit is borderline a little scandalous. She's showing a lot of skin. It's really attractive. Again, something that I would think that Plumeria would see wearing more than Triandra, but she looks really good in it. What I will say is that it's kind of light on the Easter elements. It doesn't have a ton going on as far as there's some floral flower petals, so you've got Easter lily petals kind of coming out. There is a little bit of the polka dots towards the bottom of the top that she has, as well as the trail behind her. So that certainly has some Easterly elements, and it has sort of the pastel coloring that you would expect. Now she's got the orchid flowers coming out of her hair as well, which is really nice and really pretty. The butterflies as well, which is more, I think, her overall motif, being a fairy with those big wings too. So really, really gorgeous, stunning art for her. Once again, I was kind of expecting something in the darker themes for Triandra, but this is kind of a subversion of that, and I appreciate that nonetheless, because she looks really good. So they made Triandra a really interesting support unit. So she is still a flying dancer, and she's going to be a colorless tome unit, and that in and of itself is going to have value. And what utility she provides to her allies is the ability to bestow foe penalty doubler to whoever she is going to be refreshing or singing or dancing for, in addition to allies within 2 spaces of whoever she's refreshing. That's really good. So foe penalty doubler, effectively what it's going to do is when initiating against, or really just battling against an opponent, any penalties that they have, activated debuffs on their stat line will get doubled. It's just a damage or a debuff amplification element to the kit. And so that's quite good. And it also inflicts panic on all foes within cardinal directions of unit and the target, which is also pretty darn useful. And then, of course, passively, as long as she has above or equal to 25% HP, she just gets a native +6 to attack and speed during combat, which is fine. That's not gonna, that doesn't make or break the unit. It's really the utility element that's here. And her Frightful Dream, the interesting thing here is that it inflicts -3 to all stats and guard on foes in cardinal directions of herself and her target through their next action. So that is obviously going to work really, really great with foe penalty doubler, because what that means is that it's going to take that -3 and turn it into -6, right? Of course, there are many more dangerous debuffs out there than just that -3, and so that's really what you're trying to invoke. You want a heavy debuff capable team or map or whatever it might be, paired with the foe penalty doubler, and that's going to be a really frightening combination. Firestorm Dance 3, they actually made it kind of worthwhile. The dance skills for the B slot have been pretty much worthless. Window dressing, nobody uses them. I mean, maybe somebody out there makes them work. I personally have never been a fan of them. I think they're just so outclassed by so many B slots that are available. This is actually an interesting upgrade to them. So it enables Kanto to Triandra if she does sing or dance, and then also grants +6 to attack and speed and desperation to target for 1 turn. That's a really good buff. And that's definitely a really great way to make them more useful. I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with what they've done with the dance skills. I could definitely see dancers using these more than they currently do, which is never. None of them use dance skills. So if they keep this up, these dance skills for the B slot will actually be pretty useful. And then defense res hold for the C slot as well, that's fine. That's -4 to defensive stats on foes within 3 spaces during combat. So I think Triandra's great. I think her combination of stuff here is really unique. It's fun to play with. You can make strategies around it. She gives a lot of really great effects, not only the foe penalty doubler, but also the guard effect that she deploys in combination with the dance skill that she has, the new dance skill on the B slot. All that stuff together makes her pretty darn useful. She has a lot of really good negative effects that she bestows upon the enemy, and powerful buffs to her allies. So Ashe. So I think fans of Ashe are probably going to have mixed feelings. They might be lamenting the fact that he is, in fact, in seasonal hell. Now, that being said, just having another alt of the character is something to celebrate. If you're a fan of Ashe, you should be happy that he's getting another version of himself in the game, because I'm sure that his regular version is going to drop in the game in the future. That just guarantees you're going to get at least three versions of him, right? So I fret not, I wouldn't get too bent out of shape about his kind of seasonal only status at the moment. So he's going to be a flying red dagger unit, which is fine. I feel like the color dagger units tend to be super specialized, even more than color bow units for some reason. I just kind of get that sense from them. But Ashe certainly has his boyish charm with his feathered hair. I like the bunny ears. One's just flopped over, not both. And I like the color matching with the purple and the orange and the gold. I think it works really well and in tandem with his sort of dapper coat and vest combination. He has sort of these free-flowing, baggier, almost cargo-like shorts. He has the opened boots at the end there. And it all obviously very well color-coordinated, matching with the pastel colors that you would expect from Easter as a whole. Now, I will say that he lacks a little bit of flamboyance that I actually appreciated from past years with the bunny banners. I always thought that was kind of fun, borderline silly, but also generally pretty good-looking too, so I thought it fit really well. But I think that he looks pretty dapper with this combination too, and it works very well for him. He's wearing that yellow polka dot sash around his hip as well. Comes together nicely. So as mentioned before, Ashe is the 4-star focus unit of the banner, so he doesn't have the most amazing kit in the world. He comes with him an inheritable red dagger called Bunny's Egg Plus, and effectively it just has an HP condition, and if he has that HP condition, he gets a +5 boost to his attack and speed during combat, and he also has damage reduction against the first attack. It's okay, it's alright. I wouldn't say it's terribly remarkable or anything. Damage reduction is always nice to have. The boost to attack and speed is certainly going to be appreciated, but it's not as though those two things work necessarily in tandem with each other or anything. I think specific units that are offensive units that could appreciate the damage reduction might like the inheritable, but otherwise I think there's just better options out there. Rally up speed plus, attack speed catch 3, and attack speed rain 3. So now, obviously, Catch 3 is not really all that great, but Catch 4 is phenomenal on the other side. So this is a great stepping stone unit if you do want to inherit Catch 4 off of another unit, in addition to another set of skills. So, bear that in mind that you could potentially use him effectively to fodder Catch 1 through 3, and then Catch 4 from another unit, if that would be convenient. Attack Speed Rain 3 is actually a pretty decent C-slot skill to have in the 4-star focus slots, so if you do get multiple copies of him, getting that skill is certainly not a bad thing to have in your back pocket. So all things considered, I would say that he's got some decent inheritables. Certainly, I wouldn't say anything amazing, but certainly some okay stuff. And then finally, we have the harmonic duo of Karla and Freyja, looking absolutely gorgeous and absolute showstoppers in their Easter outfits. Both of them are rocking the floppy ears this go around. Of course, Freyja does have her signature horns as well, kind of peeking out the top. But just the matching outfits themselves are very, very attractive, form-fitting, showing off their feminine curves, obviously having elements harkening back to their origins as well. Karla's brandishing that enormous axe has that indigo sash around her waist, as well as the green rope tie on her side. Freyja, of course, has a cute little plush goat in her hand, of course, symbolizing her brother and her brotherly love. And then you have the wild purple plumage off to her side too, that's over there, that's, her signature style. It works really well in tandem with each other. You have all of these lavenders and pastel colors coming together, the flower arrangements as well. Obviously, Kaboom doing a fantastic job as usual with the rendition, with the shading, with the detailing. Really well put together overall. Love their glossy flowing hair, really, really stunning. Naturally, they look phenomenal. So Karla and Freyja have an interesting kit overall. So their weapon has a killer slaying effect. It has an odd number turns. It grants special cooldown count -2. So you get an insta charge to your special when you have Draconic Aura at 3 turns, right? The killer slaying effect is going to give it a 2-turn cooldown. Odd number turns, so on turn 1, you're going to get an insta charge of -2 on Draconic Aura so that it's ready to go. And as long as she's within 2 spaces or initiating combat. So that's kind of the common condition that she has across the weapon, which is really, really easy to meet. And then she gets an additional true damage component based upon her speed stat. And that speed stat is going to scale based upon the amount of cooldown her special has. So her special has, and I think it goes off of the raw special cooldown. I don't think it goes off of the killer slaying effect. I think hopefully somebody can correct me in the comments, because I haven't tested that out. But I would think that if Draconic Aura has a 3-turn cooldown, even if you have a killer slaying effect, it's going to count 3 as the cooldown for this calculation. But effectively what it means is that the percent of her speed is going to be true damage. And that percent is based upon and calculated as the max special cooldown count, so in this case 3 times 10, so that would be 30, plus 20, so it'd be 50% of her speed. That's a lot. 50% of her speed, and the speed stat in general, I mean, I don't know what her stat line is right now, but it's definitely one of her key stats, since that's what's being buffed consistently throughout her kit. So that's going to be significant. 50% as true damage. She's going to hit very, very hard. And then not only that, she gets, if her special does trigger, it actually nullifies damage reduction that is not baked into a special. Attack speed class 4 for the A slot will work very well with her. They are a cavalry unit, so they do tend to take the most advantage of the clash skills. I personally don't love the clash skills myself, but I see their value, and it is going to be useful for her. Flow and Trace 3 for the B slot enables Kanto remainder +1, and if unit initiates combat, neutralize effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks, so she's going to be naturally speedy. We've already kind of established that. So Flow and Trace 3 is going to ensure that if she naturally doubles, she gets to proc that double. She's not going to be inhibited by any skills on the enemy, which is very, very good for her. And having that Kanto as well in the B slot, very, very good for her. And Speed Smoke 4. After combat, inflicts speed -7 on target and foes within 2 spaces through their next actions, and grants speed +6 and dodge to unit for 1 turn. That's going to give her some sustainability and damage reduction baked in, even though she does have a Kanto ability to get out of harm's way. She does have that damage reduction capability. So all in all, really solid kit. Again, I don't really love the whole Clash gimmick, but for her A-slot skill, that's replaceable and swappable to the extent that, you know, something else is more fitting for whatever your playstyle is. And I think overall, she's just going to hit super hard. I mean, that's the point of her weapon, is that it's going to have her special available with relative frequency. She's going to hit really, really hard. She's going to naturally double, and you can't stop her from doubling. And she's going to have Kanto. It's all good stuff. Not a ton of utility or anything in general, but it's just solid, heavy-hitting damage. And then, oh god, that art is absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous. Okay, so their harmonized skill grants special cooldown count -2 to unit and allies from the same titles as unit, grants attack +6 and resonance blades to unit and allies from the same title as unit for 1 turn. So, I mean, what that effectively means is that even on even-numbered turns, she can go ahead and use her harmonized skill to give her that insta-charge on, you know, when her weapon doesn't give it to her automatically. What that also means is that if she doesn't want to use Draconic Aura, she could use a 5 cooldown special and use her harmonized skill on turn 1 to get an insta-charge to that 5 cooldown special. So any ether equivalent, she'd be able to take advantage of that, and getting some additional activated buffs to her damage as a whole. Once again, her speed is already very good. So we can see right here, her speed is 47, attack is 61. So already she's hitting super hard and having all of those buffs to her speed to be able to naturally double. Very, very strong. Bam! Look at that damage. Alright, so trying to evaluate the banner as a whole from a utility perspective, I would say that it's very strong. I wouldn't say that it's amazing, and I wouldn't say that it's a must summon. I think that Bernie has a lot of fun stuff going for her. I think Triandra is actually really, really useful, has a lot of great stuff in her kit, really awesome support dancer. The duo unit is going to hit like a truck. They are going to hit so hard, you know, cue the milk truck memes or whatever, but I'm just saying that their whole intent is to hit extremely hard, and that they're going to double, and they're going to hit hard twice, do true damage, and negate damage reduction, and all those gimmicks, so they're going to do very, very well in that regard. For me personally, I'm definitely going to be summoning on this. I need to have that duo, so that duo is priority number 1. I would certainly like to get Triandra as well. So getting all of those would be really great for me. Now, obviously, the elephant in the room right now is A Hero Rises. That's going on currently, the voting gauntlet. That banner has already been established, so I know a lot of people are going to be saving for that, which makes total sense. But what I will say is that there is a lot of value here to be had if you have spare orbs to go in for here, in addition to whatever your targets might be for A Hero Rises. But, you know, obviously bear that in mind, that there are some other high value banners around the corner, and this banner is going to be around for an entire month, so you've got some time to decide. But let me know in the comments below if you're excited for Spring Eternal, if you are, who you're going to be summoning for. Hopefully you'll enjoy the video. If you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you all so much for watching, for taking time out of your day to spend with us. We really do appreciate it. And until next time, let's protect those skies.